I hate this time of year. There's nothing good about this time of year. I hate it. I mean, it just brings back bad memories. It just evokes bad feelings in me. I hate this time of year. I mean, you would too if you really knew what happened. I mean, you wouldn't go around and say joy to the world, peace on earth, goodwill. You wouldn't say any of that. You wouldn't be saying Merry Christmas if you knew what I knew. I mean, if you were there when I was there, you would hate Christmas too. Let me tell you the story. I remember sitting, reclining at the table. It was a banquet. It was a banquet for all of my nobles. And we had entertainment, and we had food, and we had everything we needed. And we were enjoying life, and everything was going great. I mean, after all, I am King Herod the Great. Not just King Herod, but King Herod the Great. Don't forget the Great. I ruled Judea for 36 years. Nobody could rule Judea like I could rule Judea. I mean, I was great. I mean, do you know anything about Judea? Let me tell you about Judea. Judea was a province of Rome. And in this province of Rome was an unruly people. They were a group of people who thought they were the all in all. They thought they were the chosen people. They kept going around saying, we're the chosen people, we're the holy nation, we have a God that's different than your God, and he's better than your God. And all I heard was, they're better, the Romans are bad, that they're good. That's all we heard. And they were unruly. They didn't want to be ruled by Rome, and they made it clear. And Rome could hardly do anything with them until I came along. Because I'm Herod the Great. Because I understand these people a little bit. I'm from Edom. Edom is a country much like Israel. We're distant cousins, really. And so I understood the Israelites a little bit. So I knew how to rule them. And I knew you let them believe whatever they want to believe, but ultimately they listened to me because I was King Herod the Great. Did I tell you I ruled for 36 years? Did I tell you nobody could rule like I could? You know, it took 4 of my sons to rule the same territory that I ruled. 4 of them, and I did it all. But I tell you, I was ruthless. You had to be ruthless with those people. You had to be ruthless with people around you. Some of my sons, they wanted to try to get rid of me early. They wanted me to take early retirement. They never got a chance to come near the throne. Everybody around me knew, you do not mess with King Herod. King Herod, I am the ruler. I am King Herod the Great. Nobody else. And so I was sitting in my palace, and we were having a banquet, and we were enjoying life, and one of my servants came in, which was very unusual, because I told my servants, don't interrupt me when I'm in the middle of a banquet. I mean, you just don't, do you remember who I am? Do you know I can get 1,000 servants just like you? But he came in and he said, no, this is important. And I said, it better be important because you know you're going to lose your head if it's not. And so he told me there were some men to see me. Some men who had come a far, long way to see me. I thought, well, of course they came to see me. I'm King Herod the Great. So of course they came to see me. So what's new? Why do I got to go now? And he told me, no, these guys are different. They're not from around here. They're from around the Persian area. Ooh, the Persian area. I didn't know I was that great. Wow. My greatness seems to be growing. And so I left the banquet. I went and I changed and I put on my most kingly robes and my best crown and the one that sparkled the most and impressed the most. And if I got it just right, it would shine into their faces while they were talking to me. You got to know these things when you're King Herod the Great. And so I sat on my throne, which was elevated up so I could look down on them. And these three magi, we called them, kings really from the east. They were from the Persian area. And they came and they bowed low to me. And I had a glimpse of their camels. And my servants told me their camels were loaded down with gold and frankincense and myrrh. fit for a great king like me. And so they bowed low to me and they said, "We have come here to worship the King of the Jews." Well, you can't imagine how thrilled I was about that, because I am King of the Jews. That was one of my titles, was King of the Jews. They were here to worship me. Of course they were here to worship me. I'm King Herod, well, the Great. They were here to worship me, King of the Jews. And so I said, "Great, welcome here. We've got a banquet going on. Why don't you come and join me? And I'll get my servants to unload your camels, and I'll give you the best place to stay for the night. So come and let's enjoy life together." I would honor them. I would put them at the head table. And they said no. They said no to me. Did they know who they were saying no to? They came to worship me, so why would they say no? I don't get it. And then they told me something that, well, I will never, ever forget. They said, no, there's another. We're here to worship the one who was born King of the Jews. What do you mean there's another? There can't be another. I get rid of any challengers to my throne. There's another who's openly challenging my throne, and you call him King of the Jews? Who is this King of the Jews? I want to know all about this guy because he's going down. And they told me he was born King of the Jews. He was just an infant. Someone is born and has the audacity to call themselves King of the Jews. Whose parents were this? I would find those parents and they would not be living by the time I was done with them, and they would be sorry they ever lived. The audacity to call their child King of the Jews when I am King of the Jews, Herod the Great. So we talked a little bit. Where is this king? And why have you come? And what's the deal? And I called my scribes and I called some Pharisees because they knew the law. This was an Israelite thing. I didn't know. I didn't pay too much attention. I knew Roman law, but I didn't know the Jewish law. And so I called them. And they told me. They told me that there was going to be a king, and he was going to be born in Bethlehem. And this king was called the Messiah. Oh, not that again. I've heard so much about their Messiah. The Israelites had this idea of a Messiah, a God coming down to earth who was going to destroy the Romans and was going to rule the whole world. And they were going to rule with him. And they were going to take their rightful place. I was tired of the Messiah stuff. I had worked years to put down this Messiah stuff. But there it is again. And they said he was going to be born in Bethlehem. And then I went and talked to the Magi again. And I said, "Why did you come? Where do you think you're going? Who is this King of the Jews?" Because I started to wonder, is there something to this? Could this be true? Because if it is true, I got to deal with it right away. I just can't let this go. I mean, this was troublesome news. This was troublesome to me because someone was challenging my throne. And if the rest of the nation found out that there was a Messiah and it was actual person and he was born and it was coming true, I would never be able to control them. I would never be able to rule them. It would be terrible. The Romans would come in and they would remove me from power and they'd say, "You're a terrible ruler because you can't control your..." It would be awful. And I was disturbed. No, I was greatly disturbed. And when the rumors started spreading throughout the palace, everybody knew what it meant. And they stayed away from me because they know when King Herod's disturbed, people lose their heads. So I went back to my room. I gathered myself. And I came back to the wise men, the Magi. And I said, "So tell me, friends, where is this King of the Jews to be born? When did you leave? How old would he be? Where can I find him? In fact, I would really like it if you would go find him for me." And he's in Bethlehem. So Bethlehem's just a little ways over there. I'd really, really appreciate it if you would go find him for me. And after you find him, come and tell me, would you? Because like you, I just want to worship him. I mean, if he's who he says he is, I want to worship him with you. So would you go and do that? And just tell me. Come back and tell me. But please don't spread it around. Don't start telling everybody. Let me be one of the first ones to worship him. And so they told me that they had followed a star. That angered me. Did you ever have a star when you were born? Did you have a star when you were born? Did anybody here have a star when they were born? If anyone should have, it should have been me. I'm King Herod. Well, the Great. I didn't have a star, but this little baby who's done nothing, who hasn't ruled anything, who hasn't proven himself in any kind of leadership capacity. He's just a little baby, and he has a star. And they followed this star. There's something happening. I was going to have to be careful about this one. This was a little bigger than I was used to. This just wasn't one of my sons or one of my servants, one of my commanders who thought they could take control from me. This was a baby who had his own star. Who were his parents? So I told them, go ahead, find him for me. So off they went. I didn't go back to my banquet. Who could eat after that? And so I waited. And a week went by. I didn't think much of that. It's only a week. A couple of weeks went by. A month went by. And I began to say, what happened to those guys? So I sent some servants to go check on it. Where were these magi? Where did they go? Why weren't they coming back? And the servants came back to me and they said, they aren't there. They left. Well, did you find them on the way? They aren't coming back. They left. They went back home. They took a different route. They what? They what? They did not come back to me, King Herod the Great. They snuck away. They left. I knew there was something wrong with those guys. I would get them. I would go and find. First, I had to deal with this baby. I had to deal with this Messiah. So I called my scribes. I called my wise men. I called everybody around me and I said, okay, we know he's in Bethlehem. But who is he? Does anybody know who he is? Do you know his parents' names? Do you know anything about them? All they knew was he was to be born in Bethlehem. They didn't know where. They didn't know what house he was in. They didn't know who his parents were. They didn't know anything. Maybe I'd wipe out the whole village. That's what I'd just wipe out the whole place. Why not? I'm King Herod the Great. I do whatever I want. Of course, the problem with that is that'd get the Romans' attention. To wipe out a whole village, I'd have to answer questions I didn't want to have to answer. So I couldn't do that. There had to be a way. There had to be something I could do to stop this child, this king. It's easy. It's easy. There's not that many people in Bethlehem. And how many baby boys could be born in Bethlehem? Maybe 20? Maybe 25? He's about a year and a half old, maybe. Certainly less than 2. Couldn't be more than 2 years old. Maybe even only 1, but I would get rid of every single baby boy. I would kill every one of them that was 2 years old and younger. That's what I would do. That's easy. I mean, that's what the Egyptians did if you read the Hebrew Old Testament. So I'll do that. That's not going to bring anybody down on me. They're just babies. I'm King Herod. I'll make up an excuse. I'll do whatever it takes. It doesn't, you know what? I don't even need an excuse because I'm King Herod. I don't have to answer to anyone for this. So that's what I decided to do. I sent my army down there. And any family that had a baby boy that was 2 years old or younger, they took them from their mothers and they killed them. And there was about 20 some. And we wiped them all out. I got him. Yeah. Only I was king of the Jews. Nobody else. Just me. I got him. My life lasted for about another year after that, maybe 2 at the most. I don't quite recall. It's been a long time. And you know the rest of the story. You know that somehow, some way, his parents found out, and his parents left Bethlehem before I could kill him. So I killed a bunch of innocent babies, but I never got the one I was after. He beat me. Do you see why I hate Christmas? You call it Christmas. I call it a bad memory. I call it my only failure in leadership. I call it the only time someone has bested King Herod the Great. And I hate it. And I hate him. I don't know how you can even enjoy Christmas. You sing peace on earth and joy to the world and all these songs about happiness and blessedness and you sing all those songs, and to me, Christmas is all about this baby Jesus, and I hate him. To me, Christmas isn't about singing songs, it's about this baby Jesus. To me, Christmas, you have Christmas trees, and you buy presents, and you sing about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman, and you have movies at Christmas, and you put lights up and decorations, and everybody goes shopping, and everybody's busy and scurrying around and doing everything, and you have no time. You have no time for anything else. You seem to enjoy doing this stuff. But for me, Christmas is only about Jesus. And how he beat me, and how he lived, and how he is king. So maybe it's not so bad after all, actually, when I think about it. Because maybe if Christmas isn't really just about Jesus anymore, maybe he's not that great. Maybe he isn't all that special. Maybe he doesn't have as many followers as I think he does. Maybe Christmas isn't so bad after all. Yeah. So, don't worry about Jesus. I'm not anymore. Maybe he didn't beat me. Maybe I beat him after all.